Ugh. Oh my goodness. Thought I'd dress for the occasion. It is really hot. Ugh. My tummy hurts and I'm being really strong about it here. Coming at you with a album review for them. The Last Dinner Party. Uh, Prelude to Ecstasy. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I thought I should jump into it by talking about what is probably going to be my favorite album of the year, which is, as the title suggests, yes, Prelude to Ecstasy by The Last Dinner Party. Now, I would describe this album as sort of like Baroque rock and roll. It even has a kind of like a classical piece to start off the album. It's a nice tone setter. And then it goes right into the rockin' songs, which are very fun, very eccentric, very sophisticated, I'm going to take this off because it is actually, no, I'm going to commit to the bit. I'm going to commit to the bit. I'm going to be strong, just like the girls in the band. Because look how incredible they look. From the music to the atmosphere to them, they are dressed to a T and really commit to the bit. It's a bit light to call it a bit, but really though, it is an atmosphere that they are creating, not with just the music, but with their outfits, their demeanor, and the lyric. I would, well, my first impression when listening to this album was like, this feels like a theater kids band. Like theater kids just got together, started a band, and it is The Last Dinner Party. I would say that also the vocals, the lyrics, and Abigail's performance as the singer is so dramatic but yet serene. It really adds to the idea of it being like very sophisticated and elegant, but also very emotional and a wreck. And it's very beautiful. I love the juxtaposition, and that's all over the album. It's done in a very astute way, with a very good je ne sais quoi. I try to speak fancy here. I should also mention that this is their very first album together as a band. They have been together, I believe, since late 2021, or at least the early formings of the band were in late 2021 into 2022. The band fully formed, played some shows, and to 2023, they were making some waves in their local scene. And then this year, 2024, dropped a full album. Prior to that, of course, they had a few singles beforehand, but it is this album that has really sort of exploded. Well, this album has been the nice second boost to their popularity, but the single, Nothing Matters, which is the closing track to this album, is the biggest banger, and it is the one that actually went kind of viral on TikTok for a bit. Man, I am sweating. Y'all can see me sweat, can't you? This is embarrassing. But yes, for the very first album, they come together very well with a lot of chemistry as musicians, and lyrically, it's very mature, sonically very mature. They sound like a very seasoned band, something out of the 70s. And I know a lot of like sort of inspiration that they have admitted is David Bowie, Kate Bush, bands of that sort of era, or artists of that sort of era and vibe. Yeah, it's, if you really like an old school rock, Fleetwood Mac, artsy, like Enya, and occasionally cool solos, which they do drop them sometimes, and it is very well done. When I believe the guitarist's name is Lizzie on screen. Lizzie is an amazing guitarist. She rips, and her guitar is actually really cool looking. I'd never seen a guitar like that before. And the lyrical themes in the album are very widespread. They are about gender roles, about romance and generational trauma a little bit, but mostly the gender roles, gender identity, and romance, and sort of queer romance. Like it really does seem to be a feeling of wanting to love freely, and that's mostly epitomized best in the song Sinner, where the main lyric, the chorus is not the chorus. One of the main parts of the song is, "Oh, I wish I met you before it felt like a sin." And it's like, I wish I fell in love with you before anybody told me this could be perceived as wrong, you know? And there's a lot of that sort of theming in the lyrics of looking back to how you were younger and impressionable, but also with that clean slate to be molded, it is also where you're the most free. And uh, adding on to that point, I should mention one of my favorite tracks on the album, Caesar on the TV Screen. Very cool song about feeling masculine in some ways. Well, when they do feel masculine, the narrator feels masculine, and sort of how there was a point where they felt that, like the lyric goes, when I was a child, I felt like an emperor with a city to burn, and just feeling like you're a kid with this wild ambition, but that you could accomplish anything, is very relatable to me. And how when you're younger, you just sort of really feel that there are a lot more possibilities to be had in your life. Not to say that I was disillusioned, but I definitely have been feeling not so optimistic. I just realized I gotta bring out my sleeves. There we go. Now the outfit is complete. But yeah, so some lyrics are about being young and innocent, being impressionable, having your worldview change as you've gotten older. And Season on a TV Screen is one of those songs that kind of dabble into that subject. Feminine Urge is another song that I really enjoy from the album. Music video is very stunning as well. I love ballet. I think it's very beautiful. And not only is the ballet like a part of the lyrics, but then they were doing a music video where they were like ballet students, looks like, or modern dance students. There are quite a few lyrics that are really touching to me or really impressionable to me. The lyric, "Do you feel like a man when I can't talk back?" I think should really make any AMAB rethink their role and the AFABs around them. You know, like, are they somebody who is encouraging them to speak their mind, or do they sort of trap them in a box where they feel like they need to like pull back and not be their full selves? So that's a really striking lyric I really enjoy. And I love the sequence of which this next lyric is used. Dark red liver stretched out on the rocks, and red liver is sometimes interchanged to red liquor, like red wine. And this kind of goes into these sort of theme of generational trauma and alcoholism. There was another lyric within this song called where it goes, "To nurture the wounds my mother had." So, like, again, that generational trauma sort of idea is maybe a bit of alcoholism. It runs in the family. The red liver, you know, you're here to process the alcoholism of the family and sort of be clean. It's sort of the pressure you feel. Maybe pressure, maybe warning. You know, that's that. And it kind of touches upon the themes of alcoholism a bit. And I know the girls, they do like to drink, they love to have fun. So do I. Alcoholism is also, you know, something that kind of challenges my family. So I can relate to that. And I think a lot of people can. And just in general, alcohol is just a very dangerous thing to be in contact with. It is, of course, important to consume responsibly. Now, I should say the next song I really particularly enjoy is, of course, the single I mentioned earlier, "Nothing Matters," which is the closing track. Well, not exactly the closing, but the last closing track is sort of like a feeler, kind of like the first track of this album, which is like a classical tone setter. And the I say it's a very similar thing, actually, an exact same thing to the very last track. I forget the name of it, but it's also like a tone setter, palette cleanser kind of thing. But Nothing Matters is like the big boom where you're supposed to just like let loose, just give into whatever the heck you feel like. Just have a good time. And I remember there was an interview where they described The Last Dinner Party to be sort of like themed around a dinner party um, hosted by hedonists. It took me a while to think of the word, but yes, dinner party hosted by hedonists. I had to look up the word because as an English major, I'm not that good. But hedonists, people who strive to pursue pleasure as as like the meaning of life. Like, this is the reason for living, is pleasure. And you totally get that vibe throughout this entire album. It is a really good time, really enjoyable and thought-provoking, and a good mood setter when you really want to dress in your frilly outfits and sip your wine. It is a perfect company to that sort of thing. I am very new to this, as you can tell, and I don't have a script. I just have bullet points, and I just try to follow it. But I do want to say, I really enjoyed this album. It's probably going to be my favorite album of the year. But I don't think it's the best album of the year. But more on that in another video. For now, I would say The Last Dinner Party, Prelude to Ecstasy, great album. Highly recommend. If theater kids wailing in your ears is your vibe, which it is totally mine. I mean that lovingly. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Did you like the album? Let me know in the comments. Is there an album you would like me to review in the future? Let me know as well. All right. Thank you very much and take care.